Hi, my name is Melis, and today I'm going to show you how the average function in Google Sheets work. For this table, we have our students' names here, and then the grades they've gotten here. And let's say that we want to calculate the average grade for homework 1. We are going to use the average function, and when using a function in Google Sheets, we first start off with the equal sign. And then we write the function's name, which is average. And then we select the range. We either select it by hand, or we can write the cells names like from F2 to F20. And what this does is it takes the average of all of these cells, which are the students' grades. And when we press enter, we can see that it calculates and writes it here. And we can also see the actual function here. Like if we change the student B's homework grade to, let's say, 80, it's and this one to 90, and this one to 90 as well. It automatically upgrades, as you see, like this one to 100. You see, it's it. And let's say that we want to do this function for like homework 2, lab grade, quiz grade, and maybe there's even more assignments. We can't write the function again and again by hand. So we can use the autofill function by selecting this little circle and dragging it. And it automatically writes the function again. Sometimes the autofill function doesn't work properly, so we have to check which range it got. Like for this one, it took from F2 to F20, we can see it here. And then for this one, it took from G2 to G20. It's correct. For this one, H2 to H20 and I2 to I20. This one is correct. And now we can calculate the performance grade, I guess. For performance grade, it is calculated as like the homeworks are weighted for 30% and the lab grade is weighted 30%, and this one as well. And this one is weighted 0.1%. This is an example participation grade weights table. And for performance grade, we need the average of homeworks times its weight, which is 0.3. What we're doing here is like finding the average homework grade times its weight. And then we're going to sum up all the values that we're getting from lab grades, quiz grades, participation grades, and the homeworks. So this is what we get from homework. And then plus, we should do the same thing for the lab grade, which is this cell times its weight. And then plus this cell, which is the quiz grade, times quiz's weight, this one, and then plus this one times its weight, which is 0.1. And then when we click enter, it automatically calculates the performance grade for us. And we can't like write it all by hand for this function as well. Like this is especially even longer than this one. So we can like drag this one again, but when we do that, we see that it calculates the grades wrong. It's because like when we look at this function and this function, in this function, it calculates for M21, M24, M25, and M26, which are the weights here. And for this one, it does M27, M26, M25, like it's calculating the weights wrongly. So, but when we look at the M25 value, it stays the same. It's because it has the dollar signs, and we can add the dollar signs here as well to make it stay constant. We don't want the weights to be changing. Like for this value, it's getting these constants, and then for this value, it is trying to get these constants, but there's no value here. So we want them to stay constant, like the cells which it calculates from. So for this function, we can write the dollar signs here and here and here. And it still does the same calculation, but when we drag it again, it does the correct one for all of these. Like for this one, it calculates with the M26 value, and this one as well, this one as well. The only thing that's changing is the row that it's calculating from. And it should change because the student is changing. So this one is the correct version. And for the final grades, we can calculate the final grade as the average of the performance grade and the exam grades, which we can write like equal sign and then average of the performance grades and the average of exam grades. This is the average of the performance grade and the exam grades. And we don't want no value to stay constant here, like all of these should be changing from student to student. So we don't have to use the dollar signs. And when we drag it again, all of these are calculated correctly. Like for the second student, it calculates from K3, this one, and B3 to E3. For this student, K4, B4, E4, all of these are correct. And lastly, we can look at the if function. We can use the if function to see whether the exam was easy or hard. Like for this one, the average is 70, which means that the exam was a bit hard. And for this one, the exam was extremely easy. Everybody got like hundreds and 94s, and the grades are pretty high. And so to determine whether this exam was easy or not, we could use the if function. We could say, like, if the average is, let's say, below 85, to this cell, write exam was hard, or just hard to make it easier. And if not, say easy. Now, how this function works is it looks at this condition, which is like, if this cell is below 85, do this. If it is not, which means the exam is easy, write this one. And when we click enter, we can see that this exam was hard. And we can just drag it because we don't want any value to stay constant. We want to take this cell and this cell and this cell in order. So we can just drag it, and we can see that this exam was easy, and this exam was hard, and this exam was easy. That's it for today. Thank you so much for listening to me. Bye.